beginning to realize or to begin to look at it, what kind of change. So they are saying, look, we promise a change in government policy, but we do not know how far this policy. We do not know, we can't really say this is what happened before we got in there. Now we now know what has happened. So they are beginning to look at it, and Nigerians will not want to take kindly to that word said, we do not promise magic. Actually, nobody can promise magic to the people of Nigeria, but change in terms of the good life. The people want to have a good life. They want to have good education. They want to have water, electricity. You see, but when you look at it, Shell, the catalog of all the woes, the catalogs of all the problems of Nigeria, you know, is such that APC government cannot just fix it within this short period of time. Let's be realistic. But you see, what I just expected the government to do was, look, let us know, you know, the fundamentals of these issues or the fundamentals of this problem. We know there was bad government. There was a time where we had bad governance, and now we want to have good governance. But at the people, at Nigerians seeing the road to the good governance they expected, you know, a change in government, a change in policy. We want to have a change in monetary policy that will tell us, listen, we are not devaluing the naira, but this is what we want to do. We want to have a change in fiscal policy. We want to have a change in policy of our transportation. We want to have a change in policy of even, you know, common things that we do buy. So now you are saying that the change the masses want is not what they are getting, and the government should be able to enlighten the masses and just not put it back to them and say, listen, we do not promise you magic.
But are you saying that the government is not doing enough in terms of communication to Nigerians on the present state of things? If the Nigerians need to wait, are they preaching the right message to Nigerians in that sense?
Yes, they might be doing it, but you see, it is not just at the federal level. We have to come down to the local level as well. The local governments, what are they saying to the people at the local government? So the state government, what are they saying to the people?
Is there a disconnect between the government and the
I wouldn't know. Yes, I wouldn't know how it is, but if you look at it, have you ever had any local government chairman or any local government executive saying something? So these are the people that are supposed to be closer to the people at the grassroots. Are they saying something to their people?
The magnitude of the problems and the challenges that we're facing as a nation, does it require a magician to fix some of these problems?
All over the world, you don't have magicians who have been president or who have been prime ministers. You have real people who have been monitoring the effects of the previous government. You see, like I said, you have to look at the fundamentals. How do we form these political parties? Is it based on ideologies? Is it based on the fact that, listen, we know what we want to do? Or people just change their political affiliation just because this is the leading party and this is where it all happens now and I want to belong? Is it for the selfish reason, or is it for the real governance of the people? So now, if all these things are put together, you will find that most politicians, or some politicians, are not really there to serve. They really want to just go in there and recoup their money. They're spending so much.
Does the frame of the party in government now look like that party that can give Nigerians the kind of the required change they had before the 2015 elections?
Yes, at the beginning, you see, the group of people that came together to have this measure, you know, they were the so-called progressive. They have something good in mind. They want to come up and say, this is how we can go. This is what we can do. But right now, they keep telling us that, listen, look, it is just worse than what we thought it was.
But is that a good explanation?
Yeah, it couldn't be. It couldn't just be a good explanation, because you are supposed to have monitored what was going on before
saying
that this. And so that is why in some places you find that people, if you want to become a governor, you must have been monitoring what the previous governor or what the current governor is doing. You don't just wake up and say, I want to be the governor of Lagos State, for instance. And you don't just wake up and say you want to be the president of Nigeria.
And not knowing what exactly
Yes, you must have. I mean, there should be some people who are brain behind the scene. And that is why when we now said, with all due respect to Professor Soyinka, said, look, let's have another economic summit. It's not just about summits and conferences anymore. It's about the reality. We have enough conferences, we have enough summits, we have enough, you know, brilliant ideas, but how do we execute these brilliant ideas?
But is the government that looks like one that is focused on achieving the change mantra they preached earlier?
Yes, you see, if you look at it,
they do look focused.
If you look at it, the president has always been saying, listen, look at the economic issue. He said, I'm not going to devalue the naira. So he's holding on to that. And he said, listen.
Does that make sense considering the state of economy, monetary policies, and the state of the global economy and oil prices on our hands?
Sean, take it or leave it. This guy will have been advised by some key guys behind the scene, and they know what they are focusing on. And if you just base your ability to govern just on what everybody says, you may not be able to rule, you may not be able to govern at all. So he has a reason for saying what he's saying, and he has a reason for remaining focused on that. Because if you say one thing today as a leader and tomorrow you wake up and say, sorry, I'm not going to do that, I think we'll not take him serious.
Mr. Dagoro, tell me, as at this moment, if you are to advise the government of the day about where to go and how to go, considering the kind of noise and the kind of messages echoing from the populace, what would you be saying for them to make sure that Nigeria is on the right track now?
I tell you what, the petroleum industry had a problem before now, even before Jonathan got there. And now we're beginning to see that this problem looks or seems to be what we cannot solve. So how do we solve that? Then you're now beginning to look at our economy. It's just, nobody can tell you, nobody is excited to invest in this economy. Let's be realistic. No matter what people are telling me, nobody is really excited to really come in and say, look, I want to invest right now. And how many cargoes coming into this country? You begin to look at it that cargoes are not coming in as before, and we are not shipping out cargoes as before as well. So there's a problem in our economy. And now, if you want to look at it, telling the government or telling the government to say what should we do, you cannot rule, you cannot continue to have this government. This is March. We don't have we don't have the budget. Yeah. So now, how do we plan? Even people are looking.
They plan to diversify the economy, but in the immediate, say in the next 6 months, Nigerians need they demand the deliverables, the immediate deliverables. They don't want to see queues on the road. They want to have food ready on their table without hiking the prices and all of that. Can they get it?
Yeah, it's going to take some time. Let's be realistic. From what data and analysis coming out from the budget office and from all the office of the statistic, the government showing the statistics, you have to realize that if we have to look at the fundamentals, like I said, this country was not where it's supposed to be. And now we are moving towards where we want to be. So it's going to take us a long time.
But are we on the right track?
Yeah, we should be on the right track, but right now to say that we're on the right track, yes, but how far can we go? How fast can we go to be on the right track? How fast can we develop our electricity, or to improve on our electricity? How far can we develop our waterways? How far can we develop our agriculture? We hear that, look, we want to employ 50,000 people, 1 million people. It's just theory that we've been reading and been seeing, but we want to see practical things, and that is all the people want to see. How practical can we go with the policies of this government?
Joe Femi Dagoro, public affairs analyst, and of course an economist, a test of economics and the political economy, giving us insight on some of these issues. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a moment, and when we return, our attention shifts to the issues of read-on elections in Nigeria. Join us again.
Now, violence is an occupation, it's a business. People sell it to different people. They sell it to the oil companies, they sell it to the politicians, they sell it to government, they sell it to enemies, they sell it to everybody. During the political season, you sell it to politicians across the party spectrum. All the parties buy violence in River State. You cannot go and say, oh, this is the only party that buys violence. That's not true. And the kids understand that during the political season, the price of violence is higher, because the politicians are more desperate, so they put a premium on the price and the politicians are willing to pay, and that exactly is what happens. The law enforcement agencies are overwhelmed, and when you say deploy the security agencies, you remember I had a conversation with you and I said we needed to use the army, and the politicians came after me then. I still think you cannot do elections with any degree of safety and security in River State without deploying the military.